Hey folks, tomorrow is the global big day where all birders from all around the world try and see as many birds as they can in a full day, and we're going to participate here in Wales,
which is going to be really fun.
It'll be ace. We're at our first destination already where we're going to sleep the night, some nice high moorland near our home, which is one of my favourite places. So the rules quickly: we are only including birds we see, so not just ones we hear, ones we see, although against our normal rules is I don't have to get footage on this occasion to count them for the big day. I'm going to include anything we see that's a new bird for the year list. If I get footage of that, I'll add that to the end of the video. But other than that, we've just got to see as many species of birds as we can in a day. So join us. Let's see how many we can do. We settled down for the night, excited for the next morning. Morning folks, it's on. It's I don't know, like before 6 anyway. We're pretty early, the light's coming up. We've just had meadow pipit, which is about 5:30. We've had meadow pipit for the day, which is bird number 1 on our big day. Follow us, this should be an interesting race. Let's go. We jumped in the van and drove a few metres down the road to where we hoped there'd be a black grouse lek. When we arrived, the black grouse were there.
10 minutes in and Nigel's filming black grouse already?
Oh yeah. These birds are red listed in the UK, hence why I've not told you exactly where we are. But I've been coming here for quite a while, and this place, certainly in the morning and sometimes in the evening, is pretty reliable for black grouse. And a nice thing is, the lek is near the road, so we don't need to even get out the van. We watched the grouse for a bit, but not too long, as we had lots of other birds to find. So we turned the van round and headed up over the moorland, en route seeing some small birds from the car, including this wheatear that was at a distance, and lots of lovely stone chat like this one that was sat on the top of some heather. The black grouse isn't the only grouse here, there's also red grouse too. This moor is sometimes used for hunting, and there are lots and lots of red grouse here, some of them running across the road and some of them hunkered in the heather. At this point we parked the car to walk over some headland, hopefully looking for a cuckoo. En route we got a bit of a surprise in the shape of a lesser redpoll that was feeding in the trees. Further along the path in some conifers there was a whitethroat singing loudly, and we also had a flyover from 2 grey-lag geese that were calling. It was still early and our bird count was really climbing. Hey folks, the first kind of 40 minutes or so was quite fruitful. We've had black grouse already. Oh, we've got a surprise redpoll, which was quite nice. Loads of red grouse. We're out of breath because we've just walked up a hill and we're out of shape. Yeah, let's carry on. Let's see what else we find. This is a pretty good start, I would say. A little bit further around the headland, there was a lovely surprise. It was a male hen harrier. I'd seen one of these here before in recent weeks, but Kaylee had never seen a male hen harrier before. These birds are also red listed and are heavily persecuted on grouse moors, so a really nice addition to the big day. Our list grew fast with sightings of wren and missel thrush, but one bird that's usually quite reliable in this area and one I was looking for was the windchat, and soon enough I spotted one. I struggled getting footage because it didn't stay in the same place for long, but eventually it sat for a few seconds so I could see this beautiful bird. Along the path we were walking, we were hearing the cuckoo that we were looking for, but just couldn't spot it. There were plenty of songbirds, blackbirds, and loads of willow warblers singing in the tops of trees. With the birds you've seen in the footage and some others, we quickly got to 20 species.
We just hit bird 20!
But still no cuckoo yet. Hey folks, we've taken quite a walk to try and find cuckoo that we heard. It's not showing itself, and that would have been a great one for A, the big day, and B, for our year list. It's evaded us, but I can hear at least 1, 2 maybe, but can we find them? Nah, nearly fell over a stone then. It was really frustrating with some maybe sightings but nothing confirmed until I managed to spot one in the top of a fir tree. It was at quite a distance, so a little bit wobbly in the footage, but it's definitely a male cuckoo. After a while this bird started getting a hard time from a meadow pipit, but a great bird for our big day and one for a year list too. God, after a while, probably
Determination.
too long, probably. But we got the cuckoo at a distance. Took us a hell of a long time. We've got wind chat as well, which is really nice. Some other bits and bobs too. Really good day so far. We're going to head down into some farmland. There's lots of stone chat in front of me. After a wonderfully successful morning so far, we headed off the moorland into some farmland with a stream running through, hoping for dipper or grey wagtail. It was a lovely sunny morning and there was plenty of bird sound in the trees, so it was just a case of picking the birds out. The first one being this chiff-chaff that was singing, and as we walked down on the edges of the stream, we spotted a little shape on the rock, which was a grey wagtail. Hopefully not the only species of wagtail for the day. We carried on walking along the lane past some farms, picking out a few birds, including this goldfinch that was singing in a tree, and a little bit further on this very flighty great tit that was hopping amongst conifer branches. We arrived towards the end of the road at a farm where there was loads of house martins flying around, some of them flying into the eaves of the farmhouse. This was lovely to see. Our second wagtail of the day was a pied wagtail that was sat on the roof of a barn. At this point, mindful of time, we headed back towards the van, seeing a few house sparrows in the bushes on the way and a rook in a field. So far, a really fruitful morning.
We just hit bird number 30.
Just before we got to the van, Kaylee noted something on a fence post. After investigation, it turned out to be a male great spotted woodpecker. This bird was climbing up the fence posts, pecking at the top of the post for a while, then flying to the next one along. It was a beautiful bird and we got great views. Another addition for our big day. We'd spent a couple of hours in this area, but had expected to get a reasonable amount of species. Not quite this many though. We'd clocked up 40 species. What a great start. Our next stop was a farm road not far from Boddle Widden.
We just hit bird number
40!
Yay!
Hey folks, we're in a beautiful little bit of the country, in a place I can't pronounce, but I'm going to put it on the screen in a moment. On a road where it's usually pretty reliable for pied flycatcher and redstart, which are two birds we not only want for our big day, but for our big year as well.
We also saw red kite.
Oh, we've just seen a red kite, cool. Let's see if we can find him. In the past, this spot had been really reliable for pied flycatcher and redstart, and it didn't take us long to track down the first of those two species, the beautiful pied flycatcher. We heard it quickly, took us a while to find it, but it showed reasonably well, singing high in a tree. We now headed in the opposite direction on the same path, looking for the redstart. I had an idea where it held a territory last year, so was hoping it'd be there now, and it was. It was sat high in a tree singing. It came down onto a low branch for a very brief moment. What a lovely bird. We did see some other birds, including red kite, jackdaw and blue tit, but it was now time to move on. Hey folks, we're still looking, but we have picked up the two birds we came here for, the redstart and the pied flycatcher. Redstart was a bit of distance. We had a pied flycatcher really quite close, which was nice. Not much more here, so pretty soon we're going to head off to possibly the Spinneys near Bangor. See what we can find there. I think we're up to about 48 species.
We are at 48.
48 species. Excellent. Keep with us. Oh, and them two birds are for our year list as well, which we'll count at the end of the video.
Woo. Let's go, let's go, let's go!
We're going. We were going to go to the Spinneys, but we're going to go to Morpher Madrin Nature Reserve first. And yeah, let's see what we can get.
Big prop. A55's at a standstill.
We were delayed in the traffic for about 20 minutes, but finally it eased off and we arrived at Morpher Madrin Nature Reserve. Hey folks, we've turned up now at Morpher Madrin Nature Reserve. We were going to go to Spinneys first, but we've decided to go here en route to see if we can find some more species. We did hit a bit of traffic, which has delayed us by about 20 minutes, but we're going to try and catch it up by hot-footing it round here. The footpath takes you over a railway line and directly onto the shore, where we saw a few birds immediately, including a mute swan, a lapwing that was feeding on some grass, and a sleepy shell duck that was on a bank.
We just hit 50!
50 species! Hey, let's keep going. We hot-footed it to the furthest hide, as this is usually pretty productive for bird species. Upon arrival, we saw some obvious birds in front of us, like Canada geese, and a little egret that was fishing in the shallows close to the shore. We spotted this curlew. There was also a greenshank that was roosting on the floor near the curlew. We left this hide and headed back towards the shore. We were birding quite quickly as we'd lost about 20 minutes of time. We popped into the hide which looked over part of the shore. There were a few wading birds here to add to our day list, including this oyster catcher which was on a pebble bank. And almost directly in front of us there was a ringed plover, quite camouflaged, feeding in the shallows and preening. There was another wader accompanying the ringed plover. This was a dunlin in beautiful summer plumage with its black front. We left the hide and walked towards the van, seeing this black-headed gull on the sea. We had seen a couple of other birds we didn't get on film, including a singing sedge warbler, and also this redshank by some marsh.
We just got bird number 60!
Are we that far on? Redshank.
Let's go.
Thanks, Mr. Redshank. The next stop was 10 minutes down the road to the Spinneys Nature Reserve. This is a little reserve looked after by the Wildlife Trust. I'd been here before but Kaylee hadn't, so we headed out onto the beach first. This bay is really picturesque and we got an immediate sighting, a bit of a surprise really, a group of eider that were on the sea. There were loads of swans and geese. We did spot another new bird for our day, which was a cormorant sat on a post in the heat haze. The path takes you off the bay into some woodland that surrounds some marshy pools. There are a few hides here. We did pop into them briefly to see if there was anything obvious. There was plenty of bird life, but the only new species for us for the day being this moorhen. But now it was time to head towards the van. We had a quick look back on the sea, looking over at the ever-increasing number of eider. But we were in for one more big surprise. So this may cause a bit of controversy. We've just seen preening and sat on the sea through the heat haze a happily a black swan. This is obviously originated from an escape or a naturalised version of escape, and eBird I don't think will count that.
But I'm counting.
But we're counting it. So feel free to argue. We don't care. We're going to count that, and it's
I'm
also
having that one. I'm sorry, I am.
And it's a lifer for Kaylee. So that's nice.
And it's still a real one.
So we've got to go to Australia for that. Yeah, we've had a few birds here. We're going to head on to Anglesey now to Corsdyger Nature Reserve. It's getting warm and we're getting pretty tired, but we've still got a good few hours of birding left. So stick with us. The next stop was about half an hour away and on to Anglesey to Corsdyger RSPB. This had been extremely fruitful for bird species in the past, and we were really hoping to crank up the numbers on our big day. When we arrived though, it was a bit quiet. There were some ducks and geese around, and we did manage to pick up some duck species including shoveler and gadwall as well. There were loads of lapwing around making a lot of noise, some with very young chicks wandering around in the grass and mud, and the parents being overprotective, dive bombing any personal bird who got anywhere near them. We did clock up another bird of prey species with this distant view of a kestrel flying over, but this reserve was certainly quieter than normal, so we started heading back down the path towards the van, getting great views of the sedge warbler. We did get reed bunting on our big day list, which was great, this one at a distance singing in the top of a tree. On the walk back to the van we got a slightly better view of a reed bunting, more great views of sedge warbler, and as we were near the car we spotted a family of mallard wandering around in the wet mud. This mum had lots of chicks. We got brief views of another curlew and a little grebe that was fishing. Although we'd picked up a few new species, we hadn't picked up as many as we would have liked. Nevertheless, we continued, and this time on to Holyhead to RSPB South Stack Cliffs. When we were preparing the destinations on this big day, we tried to mix different habitats to maximise more chance of different species, and the visit to South Stack was quite a deliberate one to try and get a couple of specific ones. like chough and guillemot. So we headed down the path to look on the cliffs. Finding guillemot was not difficult. There were thousands of them there, nesting on the edges of the cliffs. Amongst the guillemots there was a handful of razorbills like this one that was swimming on the sea. We hoped for a sighting of a puffin, but not today. So we headed back towards the fields where we might find some chough. I walked up to the field where I expected to see them, and lo and behold, the chough were there. This species is restricted to the coastal northwest of the UK, Scotland, North Wales and Northern Ireland, and are very distinctive birds with curved red beaks. As we left, we got another surprise in the corvid family, a hooded crow. These birds are usually far north of this, on the west coast of Scotland, but this individual has been loitering around here for a while and made a great addition to our big day list. It was now late in the afternoon and we headed to Kemlyn Bay. Hey folks, we are at Kemlyn Bay, but before we check out the staple species here, sandwich tern and such, for our big day, somebody has reported a grey-headed yellow wagtail, which is a European subspecies of our yellow wagtail. So we thought we'd take a look. When we arrived, we noticed on our birding app there'd been sightings of yellow wagtail here today, but not just any yellow wagtail, some of the continental subspecies, the blue-headed and the grey-headed form. And after following directions and help from another birder, we found them. This blue-headed form of the yellow wagtail is from continental Europe. The other bird here present was the grey-headed form, which had a very dark head. These are apparently from Scandinavia. Getting a sighting of one of these subspecies in the UK is pretty unusual, but getting two males of two separate subspecies on the same day in the same place is brilliant, and another bird for our big day. Although I would have loved to have watched these birds for much longer, I was mindful of time and we had more species to get before it went dark. Hey folks, we've just seen the yellow wagtail. There was not only one, there was a blue-headed type, which is from continental Europe apparently, and a grey-headed type, which apparently is a Scandinavian subspecies, but they were both feeding together. The footage is a bit mixed because I was shooting against the sun and couldn't really see anything, but still we've got it, and that's another bird for our big day. Let's see if we can see some terns before it goes dark. We headed towards the noisy and bustling sandwich tern colony. You could see it from this side of the path, but it was quite a distance, so we headed round to the other side, up onto the beach where you can get slightly closer views. When I came onto the beach, immediately saw some of the sandwich terns bathing in the sea, splashing about. These sandwich terns weren't the only terns here present, as amongst them I noticed two smaller terns with red bills with a black tip. These are common terns. Amongst the terns on the beach there was a number of small waders, including these lovely sandlings which were running up and down the beach. It's lovely to see them getting into summer plumage too. Other waders present included dunlin and ring plover, which we had seen earlier that day at Morphomadryn, but still lovely to see. There was another wader here which was a new bird for our big day, and that was the turnstone. There was a number of them doing what their name suggests, walking round, turning stones with their beak and picking up food from underneath. Some of these birds were already in summer plumage with black, white and orange feathers. By now we were up to 80 species for the day, which is kind of the target I had in my mind. But now it was time to go up to the tern colony and see if we could get some more species. This busy and loud sandwich tern colony is the only sandwich tern colony in Wales, so it's very important. This amazing colony is home to other species of terns as well, like the common tern that we saw bathing in the sea earlier. There were some here at quite close range, giving us great views. And although these common terns were amazing, they weren't the other tern I was looking for. I was hoping for Arctic tern. These look very similar to the common tern, except for having a completely red bill without a black tip. And soon enough I found this stunning individual sat on some stones. All the birds breeding in this colony included this wonderful Mediterranean gull. This species is a relatively new breeder to the UK, with the first successful breeding pair being in 1967. Numbers have certainly increased since then, with the estimated breeding population being over 1,200 now. Before we left, we got lovely views of this pair of red-breasted merganser, with the female stood on the bank and the handsome male swimming in the water in front of her. But now the sun was going down on our big day, and also our feet hurt. Hey folks, so we're at Kemlyn. Unless we see anything more going to the car, I believe we're on how many?
86.
86 species for the day, which is, it's been a real whirlwind of a day. We've walked apparently about 10 mile and driven
It's going to be
in
more
between.
than that because it doesn't always.
Yeah, it's manic, and my feet, I think I've got blisters on. So I'm just about to paddle in the sea.
Nigel's just tapped out.
I'm pretty much tapped out. I need a beer.
I want to see an owl though.
So we may see another species. We've still got a bit of time before it goes dark, but I'm heading back towards the van. We probably stay here overnight, maybe. Stick with us. If we see anything more, we'll let you know. We paddled in the sea and walked back towards where we'd parked the van as the sun started to set. It was a beautiful place to end our big day. We're hoping this video was not only entertaining and fun, but showcased some of the birds in our local area of North Wales. Hey folks, it's the morning after our big day. We thought we'd do a bit of a report. Yeah. We got 86 species, I believe.
I think it's, well, it depends if you class the blue-headed wagtail.
Yeah, we've got 2 subspecies of yellow wagtail, which I think we're going to have to count as 1. And there's some controversy with the black swan, but we're counting it anyway, so we're putting our foot down. It was amazing. We walked miles, so I've got blisters on my feet. We're a bit sunburnt and frazzled, but it was pretty amazing. It was a great experience.
We really hope that we showcased the Welsh birds really well, don't we?
Yeah, we did it in our backyard, somewhat in North Wales. We really enjoyed it, didn't we?
It was really good fun.
Next week, next year, I think I'll put my feet up. Next year, I think we're going to try and do it again and beat this year's figure. Absolutely. What do you reckon? Yeah. Before we forget, there were some new birds for our year list, including cuckoo, pied flycatcher, common redstart, the quite controversial, but yet we're counting it, black swan, the wonderful Arctic tern, and the lovely hooded crow. Thanks so much for watching. Please like,
please subscribe,
and please press the notification bell. Bye. See you on the next adventure.